Hello, ladies. We are live.
Yes.
All right. Welcome. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday, ladies. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, so we had lovely weather today, and we have the lovely women on the live stream today. I don't even know what they're called, but live stream.
So there's so many of them, you can't keep track.
Exactly. So today, as everybody knows, or whoever doesn't know, June is Home Ownership Month, and this is our third broadcast during Home Ownership Month that we will be focusing on. Don't be credit shamed. Don't let what you think your score is or what your actual score is, don't let that shame you. That is a starting point, and that is all that is. So today we are going to be talking about the Dfree movements and a couple of things around credit and don't be credit shamed. So I would like to introduce my partner, Tammy Schroeder, the other half of Buy Sell Rent with TNT. Say hi, Tam.
Hello.
And I would also like to introduce Miss Vanetta and all her fabulousness. Say hi, Vanetta.
Hello, everyone. Excited to be here.
Vanetta is with Wells Fargo, and I would like to introduce Nicole and all of her awesomeness.
Hello, everybody.
So all of us wonderful ladies have a lot of information to share with you. So without further ado, Tammy, please take it away and give us a moment of prayer.
If everybody bow their heads, dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you right now, thanking you, Lord, for another day. We thank you for your grace and we thank you for your mercy, Lord. I thank you, Lord, for these beautiful ladies that are gathered here today, all on a mission to help us during this Home Ownership Month, spread the knowledge, the wisdom that we have in our respective careers within mortgage and within housing. We thank you for this opportunity, and we pray that the information that we have here will be a seed that's planted into someone's life that will be a blessing and be plentiful for them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Sorry, my dog just got an attitude. I'm so sorry for that.
We didn't hear it. It was okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. She's hungry.
So let's start out with Vanetta. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We know that you're with Wells Fargo. Tell us what you do. And I see your contact information, why somebody would call you. Take it away.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I thank you, TNT. I'm really excited you guys have created this platform for people to be able to discuss home ownership, budgeting, debt-free, and just give our consumers just information to help them move forward in their financial path. So I applaud you two ladies on the platform that you have created for just all this education and information. So kudos to you. So I'm Vanetta Hawkins. I am a market consultant for Wells Fargo. I have been in the industry for, it's actually 29 years this month, which is bananas.
Bananas.
Right. I said I had to stop saying that one time because I was at the bank and I was talking to tellers and I'm like, I've been banking 25 years. It's like, hold up, these people are like 22 years old. But anyway, being in banking for so long, being in the mortgage industry, part of it for about 20 years, just have been awesome for me. My role at the company is I strategize around advancing our home ownership strategy. So this is a perfect segment. June is Home Ownership Month. So kudos to June. We want to make sure that we get as many new homeowners as possible. So that is our mission. That's my mission with my employer. That's my mission personally, and that's my mission for supporting you ladies today. Excellent. So that's a little bit about myself, what I do with the company. Do you want me to jump in and start maybe talking about budgeting and savings, or are we good? Good to go?
I think we're good to go.
All right, fabulous. So let's just start here when you're thinking about budgeting and savings. So from a home ownership perspective, one of the top three challenges around purchasing a home is savings. People just don't have the funds and are not able to reach that American dream just because they cannot figure out ways in which to save up a down payment in order to purchase. There's even been some statistics that are out there that just talks about if an average worker, such as maybe a nurse or a police officer, fireman, medical professional, if it would take them about like 20 years to just save up a down payment, something astronomical like that. So when you think about that, how do we overcome that obstacle, right? How do we make give people that access to cash and make things available? It really just starts with you. So the one thing I will say when you think about wanting to get into home ownership and achieve that American dream, the first step is want to do it. Like that's the first step. And when, it seems so small to even say that your first step should be wanting to buy a house, but so many people never even get to that step. They always think I'll just be a renter forever. I came from a renter. My parents, my grandparents, my whole family have all been renters. So they never even think that they can even become an actual homeowner one day. So first step, ladies and gentlemen, have that desire and say, yes, I will become a homeowner. Not I want to, I hope, I plan, maybe one day, who knows? No. I will become a homeowner. Start with that statement, and everything else that comes will get you to that ultimate goal. Now, when we think about one of the biggest challenges in home ownership is that down payment. How do we begin to save? Where do we begin to budget? What does that even look like? How much do I need? 20% down, 3% down, 5% down. What are those magic numbers? So those magic numbers from a down payment perspective, they could be, 0%, depending on where you're buying, or if you're a VA, what kind of loan you're getting. There's literally 0% down payment options out there available in this country. Maybe that, but I would say on average, the minimum down payment is about 3%. So you think about whatever you're looking to purchase, multiply that cost of that property by 3%, and that's the amount of money that you need to save plus some extra. Let's just say that. But how do we get there? Where do we start? We start with number one, I will be a homeowner. And then the second thing is get that plan in action around saving. I think sometimes that just that initial, how do I save? I don't have any money. I live paycheck to paycheck, which most Americans do. So you're not in this boat by yourself. Most Americans do live paycheck to paycheck. And unfortunately, with unemployment and with COVID, we've seen that. And then most Americans, they're about $400 away from poverty if something happens and they lose their job. So yeah, saving is hard. Thinking about savings is hard. But putting a pen to paper and putting things in action will help you ultimately get to your goal. So I would say when you're thinking about budgeting, think about that ultimate gut number that you need. Because savings, you need to know where you're going. If you're like, I'm saving some money, but you just saving $2 here, $2 there, them $2, they will add up. But it'd be way down the road. So I really want you to be to have SMART goals, be specific, make sure they're measurable and attainable, realistic and timely. So when you're thinking about putting your goals together on how much money you need to save, be realistic with what that magic number is. If you need to save $10,000 in order to achieve the American dream of home ownership, then put a plan in action to save that $10,000. Sometimes I will go back to say that we start off with the I will be a homeowner, and then we get lost in the shuffle of the budget and the savings because we don't have that magic number on what is it going to take to actually make this happen. So when you made that decision to say, yes, I will be a homeowner, you need to also make that decision on how much money am I going to need to save? Am I going to need to have? And once you can determine what your magic number is, then put a plan in motion and make that happen. Look at all of the avenues in which you, or all of the places in which you have access to cash. So whether that's your 401k, and maybe you can start adding additional money to your retirement savings, because you can use retirement savings typically to be able to purchase a house, whether it's via loan or you're loaning money from your retirement, or you're doing a withdrawal from your retirement. There's typically options within retirement funds in order to utilize those monies for home ownership. So count those monies that's in that bucket. But let's just talk about, you get your paycheck. What do? We always think, I have no money. Like, I gotta pay this, I have to pay that. Pay yourself first.
Mhm.
You know, people say that, right? We always hear that, pay yourself first.
Mhm.
How many do it? I tell you how many. The ones that want to buy that house is the ones that part of that how many.
Mhm. Mhm.
So pay yourself first. And I'm gonna stick with them. I'm gonna stick with the magic with those magic numbers. So 10,000 is your goal. And you say, okay, if I cut back on the coffee, I drop the cable and I just get Hulu. I do certain things. I go from Verizon to Metro PCS because it's a $40 bill. If you do certain things that will yield a certain amount of cash on a monthly basis, then you can really realistically calculate how long it's going to take to get to your goal. And people, I don't want you to shy away from if it takes you 2 years to reach your goal, then guess what? It takes you 2 years to reach your goal, and it's okay. But the best part of that is you have a goal and you know when you're going to get there.
Mhm.
And don't allow anything else to stray you from that goal. So when you're thinking about that budgeting and that saving, know what your number is that you want to save, that you want to have as your end goal, and then know how much money you're going to need to put into an account on a monthly basis to get there. And that's whether that's monthly, that's bi-weekly, that's whenever you get paid. I would say one of the easiest ways to save money is money needs to be out of sight, out of mind. Because when we can see money, guess what we do when we see money? We touch it, we take it, we spend it, we do da 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 da. That's just what we do, and it's a normal thing. So money is best kept out of sight, out of mind. So once you have your goal and you say, all right, boom, I'm going to start putting away $100 a paycheck. And I, every time I get paid, $100 automatically swept out of my account and put into an account that I really can't touch. Because we have to, when I say money, having that money out of sight, out of mind, I really mean it. I don't mean having it in your checking account where if you just happen to touch it, you happen to touch it. I don't mean even having it in your savings account where you in that same bank where that debit card is linked to and it might overdraw. This account, when you really get down to it and you really want to be focused and have that, I will be a homeowner one day and I will save that $10,000, you have to have discipline and structure. And keeping that money out of sight, out of mind. So having those automatic deductions from your paycheck, going into, get an online account or something. Put this on, bring it to Wells Fargo.
Yes.
But
Bring it to Wells Fargo.
Where it's not accessible. You don't want to be able to access those funds because you want to keep those funds separate from your day to day. So don't have it linked to your savings account. To your debit card. Have it somewhere separate and have it going on that paycheck to paycheck basis. When you get paid, the day your paycheck comes in, that money should be swept. If your employer allows for that money for them to do the sweeps, then do the sweeps with your employer. This way you're definitely not even going to see the money even hitting into your account. And if you're doing that $100 a week, even if it's $20 a week, whatever that number is, set your goals and make sure that you're reaching them. So how do we get started, right? Like, where do I start from here? Like, where do I go? Where you get started is, number one, remember, I will be a homeowner. Number two, I'm going to need X, 10,000, whatever that X number is, I'm going to need X. 3, immediately set up a transfer so that you start saving this money. So whether you're doing it with your paycheck, if you're a person that gets your physical check and you're cashing your check, then take that money and go deposit it somewhere, put it in an envelope, don't put it under the bed. You need to have that in the bank account. So all my fabulous people who want to keep the money home, slide it here, slide it there, got the cookie jar, got that big water jug with the change in it. That's what I'm going to need for y'all to put that money in the bank. And I would say the reason why, because when we go as a mortgage lender, when we go to check your assets and we want to see bank statements, we can't see them statements in the water jug and under your mattress. No, we can only see them in the bank account. So set the plan in motion. And I was going to take a step back and say, so once you start your plan, let's say you say, okay, Vanetta, Tammy, Tiffany, Nicole, I can do $25 a paycheck. Okay, perfect. I need to get 10,000. It's going to take me a minute, but I can do $25 a paycheck. Then do it. Start that goal with that $25, but set yourself up with maybe a 6-month review process. So every 6 months, you're going back in and saying, okay, I did it. Yay. Congratulate yourself, because every step is a step forward. So congratulate yourself that you did it for those first 6 months. But then do a review. Say, okay, I made it by saving $25 a paycheck over these last 6 months. Now let me see, can I increase that to 50? Can I increase it to 100? What can I increase it to so that I can get to my goal of that 10,000 even faster? So always go back to your plan, reevaluate it, see if you can make some additional changes to it to improve it so that you're getting to your goal, so that I will become a homeowner one day and you're making it happen. So increasing and revisiting your plan, increasing your 401k. 401k is the best or retirement savings. That's one of the best avenues in which to save money for anything, because it's so out of sight, out of mind. You don't even see it. Because who looks at a pay stub? Nobody, seriously. Nobody's gonna pay stub. If you get a pay stub, nobody's gonna pay stub. So out of sight, out of mind. So let's say you have your 401k right now. If you are with an employer that does matching, some employers do 401k matching. So maybe you put 3%, they will match you up to that 3%. So you definitely want to make sure you're at least doing that. But then let's say, all right, you need to get to that 10,000. You're going to start on your $25 a paycheck and start putting money aside every week with the $25. Bump up your 401k percentage. So if you're putting in 3%, maybe bump that up to 5%. And also, when you get to that 6-month review process, don't just review that $25 to see if you can increase that. Review that 401k as well and increase that as well. Because this is all going to help you ultimately get to that goal of that 10,000 and of that becoming a homeowner. So look at, again, all of your ways in which you can actually save money, pocket that money into an institution and get to your ultimate goal. And there are a lot of, one thing I would say people is my mom religiously, love this lady. She's like right over there doing commercials on that. My mom religiously says, write things down, period, with the T. Okay. So my mom religiously says, write things down. So you want to have these things written down. But I would also say with the tools, it's good to write down your budget. So there are a lot of budget tools out there. But the one thing I would say, physically write it down on a piece of paper. Because when you can really touch that and feel what that really looks like, I'm going to save $25 a week and I'm going to get to 10,000 in the next 2 years or whatever the situation may be. You can have something tangible to say this is, and you can say that this is what I'm about to achieve. These are my goals and I'm going to actually make them happen. So I would encourage you to physically write down your goals, write down how you're going to budget, write down how you're currently spending your cash. You know, the one thing I would say with COVID is gas money I saved on, hair, nails. I've saved so much money on things that I thought was necessary that clearly aren't necessary. And I don't know if I ever because those are fine and fabulous, right there.
Yes.
Some things are necessary.
Yes.
Right, some people are right, but I will say that once you start to write things down and you start to really think what is important here, right? So if I think I don't have any money, my going into this whole thought process, I don't have any money. When you start to write down what you're really spending money on, you will see that we as humans waste a lot of money.
Yes.
We waste a lot of money on things that we don't actually need.
That's
so
an
I would
understatement.
be cautious on, write it down on what you're actually spending your money on. Use some of those budgeting tools so you can see. Sometime in your regular checking account, your bank may have a tool within itself, or your credit card company might have a tool that actually shows, okay, boom, you spend XYZ a month on groceries, or you spend XYZ a month at the gas station. So understanding your finances and what you're really spending money on will help you to put that budget into place. So I would say definitely you want to understand where your money is going on a monthly basis. Hold your money accountable. I put my money to work every day. I have to put your money to work. Put your plan into action, and remember that ultimate goal. I will be a homeowner, and these two ladies right here will help you make your dreams come true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we enjoyed that very much, Miss Vanetta. As y'all can tell, Vanetta is a professional expert in being able to relate to you those steps. But not only you can see and hear a passion in her voice of knowing how to go about those steps. She gave many examples. I heard a quote today, and I look at the fact that we're looking at making sure we do this series, not only because it's home ownership month, but then we look at how COVID hit us all in many different ways. If it's not emotionally, physically, finances, whatever, it affected us all in many, many ways. And a quote that a friend of mine used today from Maya Angelou, and I look at what we're doing, we're saying refocus 2020. We know COVID took us off of our visual past, if it's financial, and we mentioned home ownership. Home ownership is one of the elements we know, but we know that there's a statistic. I think most people don't have at least $500. Is it that's saved up to be a
400
emergency? How much, Vanetta?
400. That's not 400.
And for some of us, we know that, like she mentioned, my Achilles heel sometimes. Now, I was about to say Aunt Tiff. Aunt Tiff is my other Aunt Tiff number two. But Tiffany is a testament to the things that we try to do for each other. Starbucks. I love a Starbucks. Green tea matcha is my thing. And I'm a tea lover too. So I always tell Tiff when it comes down to it, to find she's my accountability partner. So on Thursdays, they used to have buy one, get one. So I don't get Starbucks without the BOGO. So that's one of the things that for my savings in my head that I utilize. So I've been refocusing my 2020. And for many of us, we want to redo on 2020. So this is the quote that someone told me today from Maya Angelou. It says, "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Try to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. Do not complain. Make every effort to change the things you do not like. If you cannot make a change the way you have been thinking. You might find a new solution." So, and that's a quote from Maya Angelou. And I say that in transition because Nicole is going to introduce herself. She has a tool that we all that are here have been a part and members of NAREB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers. And we have partnered with a program that we feel that can be a wonderful step. It's an accountability tool for you and your finances. And we are going to let Nicole introduce herself and the program we're speaking of.
Yes, thank you very much. Now I have some big shoes to fill coming after Miss Bonetta, so I'll try to do my best.
You can do it.
So I am Nicole Archibald. I am employed with Wells Fargo as well. I am also a member of NARAB Southern New Jersey chapter. And I am actually in the front lines and I help people, obtain home mortgage loans. So basically I'm the person that is asking for your bank statements and I need your finances and kind of dig in there and try to, get your financial picture and see how and where you can fit in the housing market. Um, Now, as far as the Dfree is concerned, that's an initiative that we're taking on to encourage people to actually look at their financial health. A lot of people that I'm finding, especially when it's first-time home buyers, they generally like to come in and ask a lot of questions, but they just don't have the tools or plans in place. Kind of like what Vanetta was saying about saving. So yes, we all know we're supposed to save, but how do you save? Like she was saying, oh, decide about, $25. What's your goal? You got to kind of set those. And if you don't write it down, you don't see it. And then you don't get it, kind of like the out of sight, out of mind type thing. But this kind of puts all of your money in your face and you see your spending habits and you can hold yourself accountable for it.
I'll go to
And then
it.
you can also, yeah. And then I also set a personal budget, which I would like to share as well. And that helps me kind of save and allocate the right amount of money for myself. And I've helped a couple of my clients personally with this budget, and it allowed them to save money while living comfortably and still paying their bills. So what I would do is I would take my paycheck. So I'm just going to use $1,000, for example, for every 2 weeks, which I feel like is an easier number to wrap your mind around. So let's say you have a $1,000 paycheck every 2 weeks. So you would break it down. It's called 50, 30, 20. So what that means is I would take 50% of my paycheck and that would go directly into one bank account. And I would use that strictly to pay all of my bills. My 30% of my check goes into another account in which I have the debit card with me at all times. And that is the only money I'm allowed to spend on myself on God knows what. If I want to get my nails done, my hair done, if I want to go out to dinner with my girlfriends, whatever, that comes out of my debit card that's in my bag. And then I have a third bank account, which is a savings, and I put 20% of my check into that savings. So imagine if you have that type of income, $1,000, right? Every 2 weeks, you would think, man, like, how am I going to get around this? Like, how do I do this? Because in hindsight, that can easily go. But if you think about it, if you get paid twice a month, I'm sorry, I keep referring to my notebook, but if you get paid twice a month, you can actually save $400 a month and still pay about $1,000 worth of bills and still spend $600 on your own, just on whatever you want. And that's living within a reasonable budget that can allow you to pay your bills and comfortably save, number one. And number two, that's generally how mortgage lenders kind of assess on what you can afford, right? So we have what's called debt to income, and we don't want that debt to income to be over a certain amount of what you make every month. So 50% is like at the tippy top max and where you should comfortably be in order to pay all your bills, including your mortgage, and still be able to save and not have to live paycheck to paycheck. Now, in order to start paying those bills, I'm pretty sure you're going to ask yourself, okay, where do I start? So that's where the Dfree comes in. And this, like I said, this is an initiative that we're all kind of getting behind to kind of put this out there and say, hey, look, this is what we need to do. This is what you need to see. And no one cares how you got here. All we care is about where you want to go. So now what we need to do is take a look at your situation, take a look at the tools that we have to help you so that we can kind of move you forward. So what Dfree basically does is it allows you to basically put all of that stuff, not in a spreadsheet, but something that you can actually see like physically and log into and look and say, hey, how much money do I need to allocate to this bill if I want to pay it off in this amount of time? So that's one thing that I love about it. I actually have set it up myself. And just in the last 2 months, I personally have paid off about $4,000 worth of debt. And that is not even a joke. I'm like so serious. And it's been tough. Like, I had to basically start over with certain things and I need to buy a new car. I had, a car bill that I need to fix and a number of things that needed to be taken care of. So for me to be able to pay that off and still be able to pay a certain amount of debt, to me is a blessing. So it's definitely hard. It takes some discipline and some work, but you can definitely do it. Now, this is basically a little 12-step program that we have. And basically, once you log in, you can take advantage of all of the tools that are available in the Dfree program. I personally take advantage of just using the debt, I guess, like the analyzation part of it. So it'll allow me to go in and add all of my liabilities. So let's say if I have a credit card, I just go in and say I have a Visa card and the balance is, $10,000. And then it'll ask you, how much do you want to, how much do you want to pay off in what amount of time? And you enter in those numbers and it'll calculate what you need to be paying towards it, including your interest, in order to meet that goal. So if you want to pay, I don't know, $5,000 off from a $10,000 credit card, it will calculate those monthly payments for you. And you can decide based off your budget if you can afford that. And then if that's even realistic for you, like Vanetta was saying. So you can set these goals, but you want to make sure it's something that's real, it's tangible, and it's attainable. And it's not going to be something that's going to be disappointing or discouraging for you as a new person coming into homeownership, right? Because it's easy for you to make a mistake and then say, hey, I can't do this. Like, how am I going to do this? This is overwhelming. You just got to kind of scale it back, take one step at a time, and then you'll get there. So that's what I wanted to share about it. This is the screen that I was looking. Thank you, Tammy. So as you can see, once you go in, you can say I have, your debt record name. You just type in whatever that debt is. So for me, I put my Visa card, and then you type in the total amount that's due. And then where it says the debt for, where it says select one, it'll basically give you some drop down with options to fill in what type of interest rate, how much your interest rate is, and you can take a look at those things, or just give even an estimate, because that's what I did. I have an idea of what my interest rates are, which you should know. That way you know how much you're giving to your lender as far as what balance you have, and that way it will kind of motivate you to pay it off sooner, to be honest with you, once you actually look at it. And then once you set that up, then you just enter in the date that you want to have it paid by. And then it will calculate your contribution, your monthly payment on what you need to pay for it. And then you can do that for each liability that you have. So if you have 5 credit cards, then you could do it for all 5. Or if you just have something that's outstanding and you want to just try to make minimum payments towards it, you can do that as well. And to me, it really helps, because I'm like, wow, I really need to get my life together. Okay. I need to pay this debt off. I need to get it together so that I can start preparing myself for homeownership. And I help people do this for a living. So I'm like, okay, if I know how to use this, I can comfortably explain this to my clients and explain this to other people so that they understand what it's doing for myself. And I literally physically can show them, hey, this is what I did just by sticking to that budget. And luckily it's because of this quarantine, because I'm pretty sure if I had to spend, 2 gas tanks a week commuting to work, it would be a little more difficult for me to do this. So that's what I kind of want to fall back on. On top of this, you definitely want to set your budget and make sure it's something that's realistic for your income and what your necessity spending is. And to Vanetta's point, your necessity spending would be obviously food, gas, clothing, daycare for your kids if that's what you have, different things like that. But what Vanetta was saying, like going to get your hair done and getting your nails done, how many times you go out to eat, how much stuff do you bring, how many times do you bring your lunch to work? All that stuff adds up. And as much as you want to say it's out of convenience or you don't have time, you will make time for what you want to make time for. And if you want to buy a house, you will cut out going to McDonald's for lunch. You just will, because it's cheaper for you to cook your dinner and bring it to work. It's an extra step that you have to take, but you can cook that dinner in your own home in 12 months as opposed to in someone else's place that you're renting, if you put it in that perspective. At least that's how I try to look at it. I'm gonna cook my own dinner in my own house. So anyways.
And then post the picture to Facebook.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now once you get to your dashboard where the screen is here that Tammy is sharing, once you kind of calculate all of those debts, every month you can go in and no one else has access to this. So it's just basically your own private account for you to keep your accountability up. So basically it would calculate all of your total debt where it says, total debt reduced on the side and then total saved on the right side. Your total debt reduced, meaning it'll tell you how much you've paid towards all these goals, and it'll calculate every month, which is why I know how much I've paid on all of my credit cards up to this point. And that is something that's definitely very motivating. It makes you say, hey, like, look at what I'm doing. I actually paid this much. You just sometimes don't realize I didn't know I could pay this in this short amount of time or what have you, just by setting this budget and seeing these numbers and taking a look at everything. Um, and then it'll start to tell you how much you've saved based off that interest that you've been paying. And then right below where it says my debts and my savings, it kind of breaks down all your accounts once you log them and tally them up. So this is what I really love about this tool, about Dfree, because it's something that not a lot of people have access to. And it's not something that a lot of people are taught, especially when they're getting ready to buy and they're learning about financial health. Like we said, people are told to save, they just don't know how. And this is one thing that you can start with to get, you know what I mean? Get yourself on that road to homeownership.
Yeah. And Nicole, I hate to interrupt. How much is this program? Because I know people are wondering, how much is this program?
It is $0, free 99.
Free 99.
Oh, free.
Free.
Yeah. Yeah. And and like I was saying, it's definitely a private account. So what you would want to do is also associate yourself with if you are interested in associating yourself with one of our organizations, because what we're trying to do is put the word out there with our organization, the Southern New Jersey chapter of National Association of Real Estate Brokers, to see how much we can encourage young people and old people alike to pay off their debt and get the knowledge and get the education that they need. So once you do that, you would want to go into your dashboard and actually join the organization. And by doing that, you're just basically kind of running with the crowd, and we can kind of get more statistics, and that's helpful. The more information that we have, the better we can relay this information to new people that need to find out or need numbers to understand how important this is. Because, we've heard these statistics. The average person of color is buying a house at the age of 48. And that's not the case for all other groups and other ethnicities and stuff like that. So we want to try to change that and step that up. And something like this would definitely help us with it.
Sounds good. I don't know if we have any other, let me stop sharing the page. Oh, Nicole.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was a little tiny, so I was trying to see where we're at.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm looking at the tiny
That's
part.
okay. It's not your fault.
You good? Let me see. Now on that and everything that you're saying, Tiff, let me know if I'm missing something. I was just going to say, in this program, Nicole, does it connect to any of your accounts? How personal do you have to get within this program?
Yeah, that was going to be the next thing I was going to say. It doesn't show access to any of your bank accounts or anything like that. So it's completely private and it's its complete own entity. So just kind of like how you go in and create your own banking login account, this is kind of the same thing where you can safely keep your information, and it doesn't talk to other websites to pull information over. You physically have to put it in there, and which I also think is the beauty. It can be a little annoying and tedious, which some people may say, but you need to physically do this, because if you don't, you're not going to know where your dollars and cents are going. Mm-hmm. So the better that it's in front of your face and you can physically see, okay, dang, well, I didn't know I had this amount of dollars and X amount of dollars is going towards interest. So now that may give you a different motivation, and that may be another motivation for you to cook your lunch at home and bring it to work so that you can save up on that lunch money you're spending. So that way you can see where to maneuver your money.
I would just add to that, Nicole, the part around the interest is most of the time people have no idea what they're getting on interest for anything. They don't know what interest is on their savings accounts, on their bank accounts, nor on their credit cards. And if you're thinking about trying to become debt free, then and being able to, number one, know what your interest rate is, and you're thinking about trying to pay things off, choosing to pay off the higher interest credit cards or debt will be, could be a smart move, rather than paying off something that might have the same amount that you owe, but maybe the interest rate isn't so high. So being really strategic around what you are paying off when you're bringing down your debt, locking in those actual interest rates, and paying those things off that have those highest interest rates first.
Yep, exactly. And it puts it into perspective for you. So you can see a list of it from top to bottom, and then there's your life right there. Your financial picture is right there. So you're kind of a little bit more prepared. You're a little bit more aware, and you can get a different game plan and change your mindset. Change your mindset on how you're spending, because we all know, having gainful employment is everyone's livelihood. So if you're not careful with that, and you're not, you know, if you're not careful with planning on what you're going to do with those finances, you can definitely put yourself in a bad situation, and that's not where you want to be, especially if you have a goal to be a homeowner. So that's my little 2 cents on it. I hope that was informational for you guys, but I mean, I don't know if I missed anything.
I have one question. So I know this call was the $1 billion movement. So what is Dfree's actually? What's their goal with the $1 billion?
Oh, yes, thank you. So the goal is basically to pay off $1 billion in debt. So we want to get more people involved and signs up with this website so that they can see those finances. And we're trying to tally up, kind of segueing to what I was saying as far as joining our chapter, to see how much we can encourage people to pay down. We want to try to pay down $1 billion worth of debt. And so far, according to this website, what's that number, Tammy? We have 23 million.
Yep.
Yep, we have 23 million. So we're pacing, but we would like to get that number up. Although this is something that's fairly new, I really feel like we can shoot this number up and get it there. You know, get it where we want it to be by the end of the year.
What chapter should they join, Nicole, if they're looking for this online? Because it is FREE free.
They would want to, once they create an account, you can go to your dashboard and hit to join a group, not create a group, but to join a group. And then you can just type in SJ NARAB or Southern New Jersey, and it should start to populate in the drop down. And then you can just click to join that organization.
I think NARAB is in front of it. So the national group, right. NARAB is there, and then they'll see the Southern.
Correct.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So just to tap in here, great information, ladies. I want to say wonderful, wonderful information. The fact that it's free, it's for me. And I know a lot of people out there that are watching, they're also thinking the same way. We need to figure out, one, where we want to go. That's what Vanetta said. Make the decision. What it is you choose to do. Speak it into existence. Put it out there into the world. Get those good vibes going. And then develop a plan of action. Or let me go back. Speak it into existence and then decide what you need to do first, which is find out where you are, what your current situation is. Find out what your current credit situation looks like and your current financial situation looks like. Once you know that, then you can get on the Dfree train and say, here's what I want to do moving forward. I need to pay off this credit card. I need to get this car that I'm driving. I need to get that paid off. I have a couple other small things and some bills. I need to get those paid off in order to be able to save. You may be able to save and pay down your card simultaneously. You may be able to do that. But if you're not, don't feel let down by that. No. Because you have to start somewhere. And starting somewhere, you have to start with a plan. So once you formulate your plan, you got to put your plan in action. So your plan is in action now. You're working it. You have to come back and reevaluate your plan. Because if your set aside was $25, you might be able to go to $30. You might be able to go to $50. You might be able to go to $100. You don't know what that is until you reevaluate your situation. And like Nicole said, and Vanetta said, and Tammy said, we all have our guilty pleasures. We all do. I have mine too. I have probably too many guilty pleasures.
Me too.
But we know when we set our mind to do something, we can get it done. So we need to give up, I'm not going to go to the nailery every 2 weeks. And I'm going to learn how to paint my nails myself or do my own pedicure. Or I'm not going to go to the hairdresser every 7 days. I'm going to learn how to do something else. Or I'm going to get braids. Or I'm going to, whatever it is. We're going to make the sacrifices for the things that we want to do. And home ownership month, we need to get our numbers up.
Yeah.
The statistics are, we have never gone above 45% in the African-American community in home ownership. And that is just simply unacceptable. If we have the rights, just like everybody else, then we need to be doing it too. So Dfree and putting aside money and saving goes to speak to the bigger picture, which is creating generational wealth.
Yes.
We have to think about our children. We have to think about our children's children and their children too. So we have to start now. It's this generation. It's these people that are watching this live stream, or these people that are watching the restream of this live stream, or these people that we've been talking to, or these people who are on Dfree, or these people that we're interacting with that are buying property or selling property or renting property, or these people that are walking into Vanetta's branch and walking into Nicole's branch. We have to have that conversation about creating generational wealth, and this is the path to that. Exactly. So those of you who are on the fence, it's free. Do we really need to say more? It's free. Where do we go to sign up? What's the website?
So I'll pull it back up. 2 seconds. Here we go.
Everyone.
Tammy's our Vanna White today.
Yes.
Vanna here.
I want to be our Vanna Trotter today.
Yes.
So we want to check out the billiondollarpaydown.com. Remember, when you go in and you sign up, you want to create your profile. After creating your profile, go to your dashboard and join. For those of you in the cheap seats, you want to join. You want to join. I know I'm saying it a lot because I'm trying to imprint it in your mind. So when you go on, you want to join the South Jersey chapter of NARAD. We want to get this $1 billion. We want to break this $1 billion challenge. We want people. Oh, no, why is that happening? I hope you guys didn't hear that, and I apologize. We want to break this $1 billion challenge. We want you guys to pay down your debt. We want you to create generational wealth, and we want you to enjoy the dream of home ownership. And we want you to talk to your children about it, and we want you to talk to your neighbors, and we want you to talk to everybody at your church, because that really sets us up for generational wealth for years and years down the line. So again, www.billiondollarpaydown.com.
Hey, Tim, another thing to tell them about, to mention, I want to mention we didn't mention is, you go to my Dfree and you brought up children. This is not limited to just us grown people. Mm-hmm. So include your children. You know, the quarantine, and I know I'm watching my Facebook. I see a couple of my classmates and my Texas grown friends and family that have popped in and out. But listen, we know we can teach our children accountability. They see what we do directly and indirectly. So these habits that we think we're doing and they're not seeing it, they unconsciously pick it up. I will throw my mom under the bus. We love shoes. So when it came down to it, her daughters love shoes. So we have to make sure that because we can wear the same size, we have to pass those boys around every now and then just to say, you're not wearing them. You hadn't worn them for a year, so let me rent them for a little while. Hey, that's just what you have to do. But I think about that. This is friendly if you're, Tim, we talked about this before. If you're 3 or if you're 33, it's friendly because children understand, you know, I have a piggy bank and it's gone from being jiggly to I can barely pick it up and shake it. And understand that savings could lead to getting whatever small toy they may want. So
this is a great tool to work with your children on. Tammy and I have had many conversations about when do you start talking to your children about finance? And we both say that when they can understand right from wrong and they can start reading is the time to start having a conversation. And with $1 Billion Challenge, you give your children allowance. Those of you who give children allowance, you give them allowance, and then they say to me, well, mommy or daddy, I want to buy this game, or I want to buy this doll baby, or I want to buy this truck. Then you become that store, and you can put them in a situation where they're learning how to pay a bill. And you say, okay, well, I will buy this. And you act as the credit card. I will buy this for you, but with your allowance, you may get $2, or $1 a week. You have to put 75 cents or 50 cents or 25 cents towards your balance. and you can show them how to pay bills at a young age. It doesn't we as adults sometimes make things a little bit overcomplicated. They're very, very simple. This is a tool that you can use if you're 5 or 55 or 105 or more. But we need to start having the conversations now with our young ones to show them the value of credit, the value of savings. And this is the perfect tool to be able to show them on screen. Hey, you bought this for this dollar amount and you want to pay it off because you want to buy something else. Well, you get an allowance of this. So how do we pay this off quickly if you're only paying a minimum payment required? So that's very simple for a child to understand if it's repetition. So great tool. And did I mention that it was free? I'm not sure. Wait a minute. I think I did. And I think everybody yes.
And I would just also just add, guys, this is, as we began this conversation, June is home ownership month. Here we have a fabulous tool that will help us become debt free and also help us, stay on that road to home ownership. So when we're budgeting and we're saving and we're becoming debt free actually also allows you to increase your assets. Mm-hmm. So if you have debt, Nicole mentioned that she paid off debt with the plan. So now Nicole has money in which she has accessible, which she didn't have before because she was using it to pay debt. So as you become debt free, you become more asset wealthy. So we want to build wealth in our community. And the way we build wealth is by becoming debt free. So I would encourage anyone to utilize this tool. I am signing up for this. I've been having it on my to-do list and just haven't done it. I will be doing it because this is it.
Well, that's because you've been saving all that money in the quarantine, girl.
I'm a regular American in this country and I have debt. I think most of us have debt. So anybody that has debt could utilize this tool, period. So I would say let's get on that road to home ownership. Let's get to budgeting. Let's get to saving. Let's get to using these tools that we have that will help us get there and meet those goals. And remember, keep your goals smart. To keep your goals as SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And you will become a homeowner.
That is correct. Well, I would like to thank you, ladies. Tammy, do we have any PSAs?
Oh, we always have a PSA in this time. So, as you all know, it is getting close to the time to vote. So I will give the announcement of New Jersey because Pennsylvania, and I'm in a tri-state. So when it comes down to it, touch on, and we all do business all across the country, but New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania, TNT have licenses in. However, New Jersey, your primary will be July the 7th. So please vote. Please go to the polls and vote. Mm-hmm. And our second PSA is for the 2020 census. Everyone, please do the census for your household. Please do the census for your household. The importance of the census, I'll do one example. And I know Tiffany can give some of the others, but let's think about it. I'll give my own example. I just had I didn't have him, but had a new nephew. I have a new nephew. He's 6 months old. He was born and he can be included in the census. When he turns 11, and he will be in elementary school, entering into middle school around about, I'm losing ages, so can't remember. But in any case, the things that his parents do now will affect the school district and the things that they receive financially because the census is only done every 10 years. Tiff, some other things that the census will cover?
A lot of things that the census cover, which people don't realize, communities may only have one bus route that comes to their area, and you're wondering why other areas have multiple bus routes coming to their area. Well, that's because of the census. They look at the population, where they're going, where they're working at, and seeing if there's a need. So traffic lights, traffic patterns, monies that are going into the community that go into community programs. If you don't complete your census, they don't think your area needs it. So complete your census. The most important thing that I can say about census is they do not share their information with other law enforcement agencies. So if you're afraid because of your legal status or, anything relating to that, you don't have to worry about that. Completing your census only counts you as a number, because if a community has a certain amount of numbers or people, I hate to say numbers, a certain amount of people in it, they're eligible for certain amounts of dollars that are already earmarked for you, which it's already earmarked for that community. But if they don't have the numbers, or the census says their numbers aren't there, then that money does not come to that community, which means those roads don't get fixed, or that those other bus routes don't come into town. Those community programs don't get put into that community. So it's very, very important to complete your census. You can do it online, you can do it over the phone, or there'll be people walking around with clipboards. Of course, check everybody's ID. Don't invite anybody into your home where your face covering, because this is COVID time and we have to be safe here. But complete your census. It's super important. And again, don't be afraid, because they do not share that information with ICE or any other law enforcement agency. So don't think, oh, they just want to get this information from me so they can come and come to my house for whatever reason. So that's
one thing I was going to say too,
A lot of
Tiffany.
people did not do censuses, period. So, in various different diverse communities, it just wasn't. It's not something that they typically do. It's not something that's typically important. So I would definitely say it is very important, as you ladies just touched on. So everybody definitely want to be able to be counted. Be counted.
Yes.
Awesome. This was great, ladies. Tiffany and Tammy, TNT, thank you. Nicole, you were fabulous. Thank you for teaching us about the Dfree. I'm definitely going to take all your advice and I'm going to sign up. But this was awesome. I thank you, ladies, for putting on this platform for everyone.
Thank you, ladies,
Agreed.
for showing up. Tammy, you're always the best. I appreciate you and everything that you do. I couldn't ask for a better partner. Serving up the community, full of information, super energetic, ready to learn, ready to step in at any given moment. My partner is the best partner to have.
Well, thanks, Tiff.
She keeps me accountable and she keeps me on my toes. And we both share the same vision for our community. We want to help. We want to get the information out there. So tune in next week where we'll be talking about, take it away, Tam.
We'll start our series. We'll do a recap from this month, and Tiffany and I have a 2-part series. So there will be back-to-back Tuesdays, the 23rd and the 30th, where we'll do home ownership, just the process. And we'll have a title company on to talk about your bumps in the road that could slow you up in the title process. And we'll probably have some other industry guests and friends on as well. So we do appreciate and love these ladies that are on here. Everybody stay safe. Continue to quarantine like you feel that you should. And be blessed.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Love you guys.
Good night, guys.
See y'all later. Bye.